President Trump's 25% tariff on foreign cars, and what it means for car buyers and the auto industry. If you're planning to buy a new car soon, there's something major you need to know. On March 26, 2025, President Donald Trump announced that the United States will impose a 25% tariff on all cars that are not built in America. That includes vehicles from Toyota, BMW, Honda, Hyundai, and even some models from American companies like Chevrolet and Ford, if they're assembled outside the country. This announcement isn't just political news, but it's something that directly impacts car buyers, dealerships, and automakers, whether you support the decision or not. So in this first part of our two-part breakdown, we're going to look at what this policy actually means. We'll explain what was announced, why the tariff is being introduced, how much it could raise car prices, and what the response has been from automakers in the US and around the world. Let's start with the basics. On March 26th, Donald Trump made the announcement during a press briefing that quickly made headlines across the industry. He stated that beginning April 2nd, the U.S. will apply a 25% import tariff on all foreign-made vehicles and major auto parts. That includes fully assembled cars, engines, transmissions, batteries, and other essential components, as long as they're manufactured outside of the country. In his own words, the president said, "We want cars made in the USA, not just American brands, but built right here on American soil." He followed that up by saying, "If you don't want to pay more, buy American. It's that simple." The White House backed up the announcement by calling the policy a move to boost national security, protect American manufacturing, and reduce foreign dependence. They estimate the tariff could generate more than $100 billion a year in new revenue. So what's really driving this decision? There are three main reasons being cited by the Trump administration. The first is a push to revive U.S. manufacturing. The idea is simple. If importing cars becomes more expensive, companies will be pressured to shift production to the United States in order to avoid the added cost. It's a strategy aimed at bringing factory jobs back to the country and reducing outsourcing. The second reason is to reduce the trade deficit. The U.S. imports millions of vehicles each year, especially from countries like Japan, South Korea, Germany, and Mexico. By adding a significant tax to those imports, the administration hopes to make domestic-built cars more appealing and competitive while discouraging reliance on foreign markets. The third reason, and maybe the most debated, is national security. The administration argues that depending on foreign countries for vital products like cars and components can create vulnerabilities during times of global conflict, supply shortages, or political instability. Now, supporters of the move say it's about protecting American workers, encouraging investment in local factories, and strengthening economic independence. Critics, on the other hand, warn that it could lead to higher prices for consumers, reduced vehicle choice, and even trigger trade retaliation from other countries. But regardless of where you land politically, here's where things get personal. How will this tariff impact you as a car buyer? Let's talk numbers. A 25% tariff is no small feat. If you're eyeing a new SUV that costs $40,000 and it's built overseas, that tariff alone could raise the price to around $50,000, or even more depending on options and dealer fees. And this doesn't just apply to luxury vehicles. Even entry-level sedans, hatchbacks, and compact SUVs are affected, depending on where they're assembled. That's the part a lot of people miss. It's not just about the brand, it's about the location of the factory. Take the Toyota Camry, for example. It's built in Kentucky, so it's unaffected. But the Chevy Blazer, it's made in Mexico, meaning it's subject to the tariff. The Honda Accord, some trims are built in Japan, others in Ohio. So depending on the model you choose, one could come with a massive price jump, and the other might not. Even the Ford Edge is assembled in Canada for certain versions, which means it's also going to be hit with that 25% tariff. And while these tariffs are aimed at new cars, there's another effect to think about. Used car prices may start rising fast, especially for in-demand foreign models that are already on American roads. Since they're already here, they won't be subject to the tariff, making them a cheaper alternative. Older Civics, Corollas, and even compact SUVs from Mazda and Subaru could see a spike in resale value simply because buyers will want to avoid the added cost of new imported models. So if you're planning to buy in the next few months, it may be smart to start watching inventory now. Prices and availability are expected to shift quickly once this policy takes effect. Now let's look at how automakers are responding. For global manufacturers like Toyota, Hyundai, Volkswagen, BMW, and Honda, this policy adds enormous pressure. Many of these companies already have factories in the US, but they also produce a significant number of their most popular models overseas. Toyota, for instance, has production plants in Kentucky and Texas. BMW builds SUVs in South Carolina. Hyundai has a facility in Alabama. Honda produces engines and vehicles in Ohio. But shifting all production to the US isn't something that can happen overnight. Building or expanding a factory takes years, not months, and costs billions of dollars. So what about the American brands? In the short term, Ford and GM might benefit. With foreign vehicles going up in price, more buyers may turn to domestic models as a more affordable option. But even these companies rely on international parts. A large portion of their supply chains run through Mexico, Canada, and overseas suppliers. So even though the final assembly may happen in the US, the rising cost of imported parts could drive up prices on some of their models as well. And then there's Tesla, which may come out of this with a major advantage. All of Tesla's production currently happens inside the US. Every model, from the Model 3 and Model Y to the higher-end Model S and Model X, is built in American factories. So while competitors scramble to adapt to rising costs, Tesla's prices could remain stable. That could make them even more competitive in the electric vehicle market. That advantage may also extend to EV startups like Rivian and Lucid, who also manufacture their vehicles domestically. But a move like this doesn't just shake things up in the US. Other countries are already speaking out. The European Union, Japan, South Korea, Canada, and Mexico have all responded to the announcement. Some are calling the policy unfair. Others are threatening to impose their own tariffs on American products, including vehicles exported from the US. The European Union has already hinted at a potential counter tariff on US exports worth billions of dollars. If that happens, it could spark a new round of trade tensions that impact other industries, not just cars. There's growing concern that this could disrupt global supply chains, create new bottlenecks in parts manufacturing, and slow progress in electric vehicle development. In other words, this is bigger than just car prices. This could shift the entire automotive landscape over the next few years. So what should you do if you're planning to buy a car in 2025? Well, if you're already leaning toward an American-built vehicle, you may be safe from major price hikes. But if you're considering something from a foreign brand, even a model that's usually affordable, be sure to double-check where it's built. That detail alone could mean a difference of several $1,000s. And if you're looking at used cars, especially fuel-efficient imports that are already here in the States, now might be a good time to make your move before demand sends prices even higher. Coming up in part 2, we'll go deeper into which brands stand to lose the most, which ones might come out ahead, and what this could mean for the future of EVs and high-tech vehicles in the US. If you found this breakdown helpful, take a second to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more real-world car analysis that's built for buyers, not just enthusiasts. Stay tuned. Part 2 is coming next, only on DriveSense Garage.